Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am Lisa Camp Irwin. I am the CEO and founder of Tomorrow's Technology Today. And what we want to do here today is help people stay secure during the busy holiday season. And we want to make sure that your network isn't left home alone this season. Today, we're going to help you spot some of the top holiday scams, get safer shopping, and some travel tips, and giving tips for safe remote working. And most importantly, what do you do if something goes wrong? So why are cyber risks such an increase here during the holiday season? And it's really about there's fewer eyes in the inbox, right? There's always that rush. You're always running behind. Nothing's ever working the way you want it to. You're going 1,000 different directions. And there's a lot more travel, a lot more remote logins, and honestly, it's very luring for our attackers. They can fake up orders because, it's about that spray and pray. They can play on, the charity. And, always they can hit you with that fake MFA kind of thing. So lots of opportunities for them, and they like to take advantage of that. The three big email lures to expect. The most common is shipping problems. Who isn't waiting on that package from XYZ? There's always that. Um, you know, they do this thing called spray and pray, and it's a matter of just sending out a billion emails and seeing how many people that will resonate with at that very same time. There's the whole gift card and charity request. There's account security alerts, really good at mocking those up. And we really advise, attendees to really look closely at that sender domain, hover over those links, and be very, very wary of any urgent request, especially if they need you to verify now any kind of urgency. There's never that much urgency for something of these nature. And that's typically how they take advantage of you. So we really encourage the whole 5-second email test. Carefully analyze who that email came from. Hover over any links just to see what pops up and look to see if it makes sense. If there's any doubt in it, don't do it. Don't click on the link. Ask yourself if you're really expecting an attachment. Like if you're waiting on a confirmation on maybe an insurance policy change or something like that, you know, really think about, did it come from the right person? Is this the right time? And honestly, it's worth the extra email to confirm. Look for those misspellings and very generic greetings. And if they really want you to take action. So here's some red flags to watch out for. You got a mismatched sender addresses, malicious links, something that doesn't make sense. There's a lot of urgency to it. And talk with others, see if others are seeing these kind of things too. One thing that we see a lot of is the fake up of those Amazon sending gift cards, sending the electronic gift cards, and they're malicious links. So really look at those senders, and if it doesn't make sense, the domain, then it's probably not real. As mom says, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So if you click on a bad link, contact your IT. Make sure that they know. If you have a report phishing button, use that. Um, do not interact with anyone. If someone calls you and hang up on them, make sure that you call a known number. So if an email tells you a number to call, do not call that number. Even if you think it's the right email, make sure you use a phone number that's been published. If it's part of your credit card, go to your credit card. Use the number on the back of the credit card. If it's your IT company, use the number from their website and make sure you're on their website and not up a mocked up website. Disconnect your device from Wi-Fi, from the internet. That way it can stop any spread. Put it in airplane mode. That's always an easy one to do. That just cuts off all the communication. If you entered any credentials and realized that I wasn't at the right place, go and change those passwords and make sure that make sure you have your MFA enabled on it. Keep your devices isolated. Do not put them back on the internet. Wait until you get a security scan. Talk to somebody that knows technology and that can understand what can happen, what they would need to clean up. Monitor your accounts for any unusual activity and report anything suspicious very quickly. If you're a business, your time to report is a lot shorter than if you're a consumer. So if you see anything suspicious, highly recommend getting a hold of the bank, use the number on the back of your debit or credit card, and contact them. If you're with a local financial institution, call the local office. Do not delete the original email. Like, don't panic, okay? Get a hold of your IT person. They'll want to look at the header of the record of the email, and it's kind of hidden. So if you just forward it, they don't get that. You need to create a new email and then drop that email into that email as an attachment. That allows your IT professional to see the header of it, to be able to determine if there's anything there. So shopping safely. Highly recommend using virtual cards. I don't know, some of the credit cards now will allow you to generate a special number that's only good one time or, for certain things. That is an excellent way of doing this, especially if you're doing any of the shopping like through social media, like Instagram or, Facebook, any of those pieces, because honestly, it is so hidden. You don't know exactly where you're shopping from. And I know a lot of those deals look great, but again, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Do not use your debit card. It does not have the same protection. When you use your debit card, they are instantly withdrawing from your account. So make sure, so if you use a credit card, you're on the credit of your account, and you have a longer time frame. You have a better time frame to be able to pull back that transaction. So turn on your MFA on anything you can, including your social media. It is just so worth it. I know it's an extra step, and security takes forever. It sucks. I get it, but it is worth it. Use a password manager. And don't use the password. Don't save your passwords in your browsers. Use the checks as part of your password manager to make sure that you don't have email or don't have passwords that have been found on the dark web. There was a huge release of email addresses and passwords that just happened. And a lot of companies, if they saw any kind of activity, they have reset passwords to be regenerated. So make sure that you're using unique passwords. Next thing, when you're online shopping, make sure you, if you're searching in the Google or in your browser, really be careful of the sponsored links. Those are ads. Ads many times have malware embedded in them. Google tries really hard to vet those, but they get through. So I always click on links below the ads. Make sure you're actually going to that site's website. Um, Make sure you're don't use a sponsored link for that. And then make sure you get your receipts in your email, like so that you have tracking. I don't know about you, but sometimes it's hard to keep track of all that stuff. So have receipts emailed to you so that you have a trackable way, and that maybe you have a folder set up for that. That way you have a place to go back and find that stuff. Um, Before you travel, make sure your phones and iPads, tablets are all up to date. Install those security updates. There's a reason that they publish those. It's because they found vulnerabilities and they have fixed those. So great idea to update those. Make sure your apps, make sure those devices are all up to date. Make sure you've made a backup of it. Never hurts to make sure that there's a good backup going on. Turn on device encryption. iPhones, it's on automatically. Your Android devices, I think some of them do set up automatically. You'll have to check your device for sure, but it's always a good idea to have that encryption on. And then disable the auto join on the Wi-Fi's. Always, never auto join a Wi-Fi. Um, People can scam up those Wi-Fi so easy. That is such an easy way to be vulnerable. Um, Keep your devices in your carry-on. Use air tags or tiles for your bags. Um, Make sure if you're using Apple devices, Find My is turned on and that it's all set up, and that you then can use another device to do a remote wipe. Use the hotspot from your phone. So if you have a laptop, don't jump on the public Wi-Fi, especially at the airport. That is the worst place. There are so many attackers out there just watching for those devices to take advantage of. If you have to use public Wi-Fi, do not use it for any of your banking, anything of value. It's a different story if you're flipping through your Facebook, but don't do any credit card transactions. Don't do things like that. I highly recommend having a privacy screen. Make sure that the guy behind you in the airplane is not shoulder surfing, because I see it all the time. So remember, your information is your information. It doesn't need to be anybody else's. At your destinations, make sure you have your lock turned on your devices. Highly recommend using biometrics. Use the face recognition pieces of your devices. Those are great ways to keep them protected. And always separate your personal logins from your work logins. So if you're doing personal shopping, use a personal email address. Do not use your work email address for things like that. It's just a great way to help protect your work company. Remote work. Make sure that there's MFA and passkeys on all your key accounts. Use a password manager. That is so, so vital for team, for the company, and especially in places where you have to share passwords. It just makes it so much more secure and easier to do. And do not share passwords in your chats. That is a great way for exposure. So make sure when you're sharing passwords, share them through your password manager, because that way they're encrypted at both ends. And make sure your auto updates are on. You want to keep your Windows device, your Apple device, your Android device, keep them up to date. So key takeaways. Verify before you click or pay. Use MFA and use password managers wherever possible. Update your devices, your browsers, and avoid public Wi-Fi. Checklists to help keep those bad guys out this season. Enable MFA for email and your key apps. Update and restart your devices. Remove unused access to shared files. So if you share a file out to somebody, kind of keep track of that. I always put it in a folder called public sharing, or shared files is what I call it. And then I go through those files every once in a while, and I look to see, we're not working on that project anymore. I either delete that copy, or I remove that access and then move it back to a better place to store that information. Make sure you check your inbox. Watch for any automatic replies. Make sure that there's no extra rules that have been set up. So if you get on a public Wi-Fi, that's something that they could easily break into your email account, and look for things and put some automatic replies on to forward emails, those kind of things. So the hackers are hackers. They're always going to be one step ahead of us, and they're very tricky. And use a hotspot instead of the public Wi-Fi. Anytime you want to talk, here's my QR code. Email me. Always up to helping with security and making sure that your business and that you stay protected. Anything we can ever do for you, please reach out. Thanks, and have a great day.